Good afternoon. I'm Rob Simmelkjaer in New York. In just a moment, we expect an announcement from the Federal Reserve on whether or not they will change interest rates. If you don't have sub-freezing weather yet where you are, just wait. Much of the country is bearing the full brunt of winter this morning.
And thus ends Charles and Camilla's second visit to New York as a couple. They weren't exactly the Beatles. In fact, most New Yorkers didn't even know they were here. The Attorney General was asked whether any charges might be brought against the accuser. He replied that it had been considered but ruled out.
So, Doctor, tell us a little bit more about this study and the findings that I just mentioned, basically saying that teens who pledged abstinence are having sex and actually more unprotected sex.
That's right.
The real record I have set over 50 years, said Robinson, is that I have had one job and one wife.
Hi everyone, I'm Rob Simmelkjaer in New York. Stock prices are higher on Wall Street at this hour ahead of the Federal Reserve decision on interest rates that we expect in just a few. Analysts expect the Fed to slash interest rates by about 0.5%. Some investors believe the move will bring the key interest rate to the lowest level on record. A Virginia sheriff's deputy pulled over a Jeep Cherokee for doing 70 miles an hour in a 55. Not much of a story there, but it turns out the Jeep was stolen in North Carolina and a 12-year-old was behind the wheel. The underage driver also had 2 loaded and stolen handguns in the car. The 12-year-old is being held without bond and has a detention hearing later this month. Starting them young. Those are the latest headlines from ABC News. I'm Rob Simmelkjaer in New York. Stay with us for more Good Morning America Now.
Jamal Green knows how to play defense. But here, there is no stadium, no cheering crowd. Just a long metal fence along a dusty border. As a defensive end at the University of Miami, Green was part of the Hurricanes' 2001 national championship team. 2 years later, he was selected by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 4th round of the NFL draft. But Green struggled with injuries and was released by 3 teams in the next 3 years, while compiling only 1 career sack. He began to think about life after football.
As a kid growing up, that was my number one thing I wanted to do. I always told my mom I was going to get involved in law enforcement. I always wanted to be a police officer or so, do something like that.
So in the summer of 2007, Green filled out an application to join the Department of Homeland Security's Border Patrol.
You could have joined the police, you could have joined maybe the FBI. So why the Border Patrol?
Well, the Border Patrol is pretty much the front line of the law enforcement in this country. We're in Border Patrol, we are the first ones to come in contact with a lot of the weapons coming in from other countries illegally.
As he prepared to enter the Border Patrol Training Academy in February 2008, Green was presented with one more opportunity to return to the field.
I received a phone call from the Oakland Raiders, and they asked me to come out there and see how I would fit in to be a part of their team. And when they called me, I told them I didn't want to play anymore.
Green graduated from the academy and was assigned to El Paso, Texas, one of the busiest sectors on the nearly 2,000-mile divide between the U.S. and Mexico. El Paso is just across the border from Juarez, a city of 1.5 million people in the grips of a vicious drug war that has at times spilled into the United States.
So you're playing defense, just a little bit different kind of defense.
Just a little different kind of defense, exactly. We're trying to keep people from getting by. It's just like you would on the football field.
It's a much longer line of scrimmage.
It's a very long line of scrimmage. It's pretty much the whole outside of the whole edge of the United States of America.
89-223.
How many people do you guys typically encounter trying to cross in a night?
It depends. Sometimes there's none. Sometimes it's up to 15, 20.
As an NFL player, Green lived the childhood dream of so many young boys. Now, he says he's living his own.
A lot of people look up to football players as heroes, and when I was a kid, I looked up to law enforcement as heroes. I wanted to be one of the guys that go out and make a change, and try to do something about it.
There have been 36 national championships awarded in the sport of lacrosse. These 2 teams have won half of them.
Colleen, thank you for a couple of minutes here. So what sense do you get from what it's going to be like tonight when Manny returns? Is this just going to be another
Steroids? What steroids? We love you, Manny. Kind of a scene? We're 4,000 feet above West Point here with the West Point parachute team as they prepare to do what they do best, jump out of this helicopter right into the middle of the cadet pregame review.
Another edition of ESPN News is on the air. Mike Hill hanging out with Rob Simmelkjaer. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And you know what? It felt like we needed to break out the bell bottoms, the old afros, the vinyl records, because they seem like they turned back the clock to 1977 during the first round of the British Open.
I mean, Tom Watson actually had the Argyle going, which I thought was pretty good right there.
That's making a comeback.
It really is.
Yeah.
Maybe it will after that. But yeah, very interesting day of golf. First round of the British Open at Turnberry, right on the water, and you see Tiger Woods. He got that early tee time, and 11th hole, par 3. He's getting it going a little bit here. He drops a long birdie putt. That gets him to 1 under par. Now 15th hole, another par 3 after missing the green short. This is for par, and he just misses it low side. That's back to even par for Tiger. Now 16th after a good drive. Tiger's approach on this par 4, and it's not a good approach, as you can see.
Oh.
He blocked it right and right into the hazard. That's going to cost him. Ball just floats right down the screen. He would bogey that hole. Now 17th. Tiger this time was right on his drive. His second shot. Can't get it back into the fairway. In the fescue, short of the green. He would par that hole, but that's a par 5. So he's looking for a birdie on that hole. Doesn't get it. Meanwhile, Miguel Angel Jimenez from off the front of the green. That's a birdie putt, and that is good. That was off the green for him. He shoots a 6 under 64 to move into sole possession of the lead. And this was the story of the day. Tom Watson, 59 years old, the oldest player in the field, a 5-time champion, blasting out of a greenside bunker here on 7. This is his 3rd shot on a par 5, and that would set him up for birdie after he spins it back. He actually ended up 2-putting that for par. Now Watson on 17th for birdie. That's good, and that gets the legendary Tom Watson, 5-time winner, to 5 under par. That's where he would end up finishing the day. This is a par putt on 18. He needs to save par, and he does so. So he goes in the clubhouse leader, but then Jimenez would pass him later in the day, and Jimenez has the lead at 6 under par. You see Watson. Ben Curtis, another former champion who always plays well across the pond, at 5 under as well. These are some impressive numbers. So these numbers, I think, tell you even more so how much Tiger Woods struggled, because a lot of guys went very low today. Tiger just could not get it. It was as complete and emphatic a statement as it possibly could have been. North Carolina Attorney General Roy Cooper today announced the end of this sensational case.
Today, we are filing notices of dismissal for all charges against Reed Seligman, Colin Finnerty, and David Evans.
But the Attorney General went above and beyond what was required, declaring not only that the 3 players are not guilty, but that they are innocent.
This dark cloud of injustice that's hung above our heads has finally cleared, and now we can look forward to moving on with our lives.
We are just as innocent today as we were back then. Nothing has changed, facts don't change, and we have never wavered in our story.
It was clearly not a good day for Durham District Attorney Mike Nifong. He faces an ethics hearing this Friday and could lose the job to which he was reelected just after this case broke. He could even be disbarred. The Attorney General was asked whether any charges might be brought against the accuser. He replied that it had been considered but ruled out because they concluded that she may actually believe the multiple versions of the story she's been telling. Reporting from Raleigh, North Carolina, Rob Simmelkjaer, ABC News.